Joanne, welcome to Give Me Five today, and thank you for joining me, Joanne from Sunderland. Now, Joanne, you are the daughter of a minister. I've heard that pastor kids can feel a little bit isolated from other people their own age, but also it must have been a huge blessing to be brought up in a godly environment. What were the pros and cons of growing up as a minister's child?
Well, first of all, I consider it a blessing to be a minister's child. I became a pastor's kid when I was 11-year-old, and I became a Christian myself at a youth holiday camp when I was 11. And I was baptized in the Holy Spirit the same week. And I wasn't allowed to be baptized in water until I was 13. Dad wouldn't allow me to do that, which I was most put out at, So I have been a Christian a long time. But,
Right.
I feel that God has had his hand on me for all these years, even when I've been apart from him. Right. The only drawback I can think of was we used to have one of 4 children. And so we had the church minibus was our family car. And we lived in a village not far from where we went to school. And you had to pay to get the school bus. So Dad used to take us on the bus to school, which we were absolutely mortified at. We used to say to him, if you're picking us up, pick us up from the bus stop, don't pick us up from the school.
Did you feel ready at 11 years of age to be baptized in water? I mean, how you said you wanted to be, but your dad didn't want you to be. Did you feel ready? Did you understand what water baptism really meant at that time?
Yes, I did. As I say, I've been brought up in church. I was in church from the day I was born.
Yeah.
And I knew all about it, really. And I felt, I was quite a mature 11-year-old.
Yeah.
But I like I said, become a Christian, and the words in the Bible just became alive to me, and I really understood what it meant to be baptized. That was why I was put out, that he made me wait until I was 13, the age of consent or whatever, But as soon as I wanted to be baptized in water, I was.
Yeah, because it's showing your commitment and what you believe. So it's showing your commitment to God, isn't it, by going through the water. Now, you yourself are a mother, Joanne, and you have brought up your own children and fostered many children. Now, both of them are big responsibilities. You're helping them to find their place in society, and that's important. Please tell us more.
I have 3 children. I have 2 boys. I've got Sam, who's 25. He lives in Sheffield.
Right.
I've got Joseph, who is 22. He's an electrician. He lives out in Newcastle. And then I've got a daughter, Cassie, who's at Liverpool Uni, studying English Lit. So I've suddenly become a person on my own at home. They've all left. I had 3 children in 4 years.
Wow.
And they've all left all at the same time,
Yeah.
But the fostering, my children never knew anything else, because I did the training with my ex-husband when I was pregnant with Sam. And we decided we were going to foster teenage boys. The thought being that teenage boys wouldn't want to mother my children, because I knew that I wanted to have babies,
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought teenage girls may well want to do that. So that's why we chose to have teenage boys.
Right.
We had 100 children in 14 years.
Wow, that is a lot of children. I mean, when you think of fostering, sometimes it's neglect, sometimes it's because of the parent is very poorly, or that it's been abuse or something like that. But fostering is a time where you've devoted your time to not only your own children but the foster children as well. So foster parents do play a vital role. So for anyone listening who may be considering becoming foster parents, what advice would you give them today, Joanne?
Well, of course, it's different for me because it's a good long while since I have fostered, and we did short-term care. There's all various care you can do. You can choose an age group, you can have babies, you can select boys and girls, whatever. That's entirely up to you. But for me, I would say, people often say to me, did you find it rewarding? At the time when I did it, no, I have to say I didn't. But we had teenagers, you see, who very much have their own, they know who their parents are. Quite often they would come to us knowing they'd been neglected by their parents or whatever, whereas babies, I would imagine, would be a different story. But we decided, we followed down the route of teenagers. But actually the last two children I had were two sisters, a little girl who was just 7. They didn't have any teenage boys in for us at the time. And they said, will you try and have these little girls? So I had a little girl who was 7 and her baby sister that was 18 months.
Wow.
And that was the end of the fostering for me. I thought, I can't do this. I couldn't do it with an 18-month-old. I would want to keep him.
It can be very hard, can't it, like that? I remember in the past I have been a teaching assistant working with special needs and children who are selective mutes and things like that. But I think the thing that the children remember when I worked in a school is somebody being kind to them, not so much of what they'd learnt, but somebody who has been kind to them. So when the children leave, do they feel, Joanne, that you have left them with a good experience in their lives?
Well, to be honest, we don't really see much of their exit because it's ordained by social services.
Right.
Because we have teenagers, quite often they've gone from us at 18 years old, they've gone into flats of their own.
Right.
Which is what they do.
Yeah.
Not very often do they go back to family.
Right.
And we aren't in the decision-making process at all.
Right.
So, that can be quite difficult for me, I found that.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure that you made the children happy to the best of your ability and give them some kind of security in their lives, which I think is a good thing. You also teach and play the piano. Do you enjoy helping your students musically so they can enjoy the gift of music? And how disciplined are your lessons? And do you enter your students for exams?
The answer to that, Jeannie, is yes, I do enter them for exams. I've got 100% pass rate. I've never had one fail. That's because I just enter them for exams when I feel that they're ready. I don't believe in setting any child up to fail. I've only ever taught children, and I've only ever taught to grade 5. The reason being, anybody musically watching will know you have to do a written exam.
Yes. At
grade 5, and I just scraped through mine. I had to transpose a bit of music for a B-flat trumpet.
Wow.
It's part of one of my questions on the paper. So yes, I do think, sorry, going back to what you were saying. I do think for children, it's important. They're used to their routine, they're used to school. And so it's important that you keep, my lessons are just half an hour. Yeah. And I just do basic scales, just everything traditional, just as I was taught, really.
Yeah, well, that's really good because you are instilling something good into those children, and the gift of music is really something very beautiful. So, Joanne, in closing, what is your favorite Bible verse and what does it mean to you? Tell me a bit more about that.
My favorite Bible verse is, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path, or as it says in the new version, will make your way straight, which I think is lovely. And it just, to me, I've gone through my whole life, as long as I acknowledge him in everything that I do, he will eventually make my way straight. I'm not saying that I haven't had many problems. I'm not saying that I've always, that life has been perfect for me. But as I've acknowledged him, he's proved his faithfulness to me.
And that's a lovely note to close on, Joanne, today, in that Bible verse there. Acknowledge him in all thy ways and he will direct thy paths. And I pray, Joanne, that the Lord will continue to bless you and direct your path for you. So, Joanne, there's only one thing left for it. Give me 5. Thank you so much for joining me today, Joanne. It's been a real pleasure and a joy to interview. And I think people will enjoy listening to this today. God bless you, Joanne. Thank you. Bye for now.
Goodbye.